Okay, I'm gonna try to hold my camera, which is not ideal, to show how I design my zine folded little booklets. And I will show you the booklet I just made from this print, which is here. I did a couple of things that are different today. Let me see if I can put this down and not cause everybody to get sick over my camera work. Please don't. Anyway, okay, so the way I folded this, and I'll show that later, this piece here has to be upside down when you print it. So it's be right side up on the left side and so forth. So this be front and, oh, let me just point to it so you'll know. The way this is designed, and I have this all grouped together so I can show you without interfering here. But this would be the front page, and this is the back cover, front and back cover, page 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 and 7, and as I said, this will be the front back covers. So you can see on the left side they're all facing that way, and on the right side they're all facing that way. Okay, so that's important so that the folding comes out right. Now I have them separated. They're all grouped together, so when I click on this I got the whole thing, so I won't lose that separation. But when I fill them, I will ungroup them. And up here, this is ungroup. So I'll show you that in a minute, and this is grouped. So these are grouped. The first thing I do is let's see if I can do this. I go to the drawing tool and get a rectangle, and I just put it like so over here. I go up here and get my width 8.5, whoopsie, and whoops, make sure this is unlocked, and you make sure that this is 11. Okay, so that just made the size correct. And then I go over to this right here and click this and this, and it centers it on the page. Now I would then fill this with something that will coordinate with what I know I'm going to put in my zine. And a nice neutral, you can see what I used this time was a very neutral. And I'm going to go over to my palette. I'm going to click on my patterns, and I have probably 1,000 of them in here. You don't have to have that many, but whenever I get a new DigiKit, I this is what comes, the top part is what comes with the software, and I use it on occasion, but mostly I have all of these digital papers slid, and I'll show you how I do that in maybe a separate video. And if you want, these are the only disadvantage of this software is that these are very small. You get to know your papers, however, but like I said, I have like 1,000 of them. And if you click up here to the library, and if I back off, I get a larger. This is a kit I just bought from G-Car. I love this, love these new background papers, and I have slid these into my patterns. I can't tell you where I get all of these because some of them in the early days I just used whatever numbering system they had. I'm trying to think. I can't tell you what this grouping is, but it's a nice grouping of digital kits. And some things are just from Raw Pixel. I put whatever I have that I like. Okay, so I've got two things in here. One are these the papers from G-Car, which is from her ink and print group or whatever you call it, DigiKit, and these are here. And this is from her background papers that I just bought this morning. So they're scattered. As you can see, they don't show up together, and it's because of the sorting system. I'm not sure which sorting system. I think I have it alphabetic. At any rate, when you go to the library tab, you can actually see in larger, so you get accustomed to your collection, let's just say. And I have literally thousands of wonderful, beautiful designs and papers in here. So now let's go back to my design. And I've got this blank rectangle, 8.5 by 11. And for the purpose of the zines, I will look for very neutral paper. Here's, I think, Organic Coffee Dyed, so that's the title of that one. And I'll just go ahead and do that. Okay, so I used something from the kit before on the one I did earlier, but this one would work just as well. So now I'm going to go up to, always remember where you are. I was on the drawing mode there, so I'm out of that now. I'm going to click it and go up to the select mode. Hold on just a second. I've got, see, my drawing mode is still trying to draw this. So if you get there, I let it draw it, and then I hit Control Z. It eliminates it, lets it go, and then I'm going up to selection. And when I select these rectangles, oops, because this is new, I need to place this in front, bring to front. Let me do that again so you can see. It's selected, and I can go bring to front and slide it on top. In fact, if I want it to be centered and so forth, I go back over here and I click on this, and it centers it on top of that background. Now the black lines that you see around each of these elements will not print. So if you want them to print, you have to, let me just stop for a minute and go up to the line, open the line style panel, and of course I could change the color of them and make them red, which I do not want. They wouldn't print anyway, by the way, until and unless you take the size of them up beyond 0, 0. Usually, if I wanted them to print, I would go to 0.5 or higher, and that is the thickness of the line. For example, now I'm going to show you this. What would this look like since I did put the 0.5? If I go up to File and then Print, I get a preview of what it would look like, and those red lines would print. So I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to go back over here and take this down to 0 again. All right, and enter. And now I've got the red lines still showing up for me if I wanted them, and I could make them any color. But now let's go to File and Print just to get a preview, and they've disappeared. So they will not print. So that's the good news. So I'm going to cancel the print preview and get back over here. Now, how did I fill these? Okay, what I'm going to do now is, remember I told you that these were all grouped, and you know they're grouped because this is grayed out, so it's grouped. So if I select this, they will ungroup. Now they're individual squares, which I could move, which I don't want to move. And if you do move it accidentally, go down to Control Z, puts it right back where it needs to be. Okay, so I know this one down here, whoops, down here is the front cover. Now, if I wanted to change that, I select it. And of course, you see the selection. I go over to the palette and back to my patterns. And I may start another book. So maybe I'll pick something else. And I could do these bees. This is a lovely pattern, you see? Now here's the thing is it found that pattern and it shrunk, it automatically kind of resizes it, even though it's probably large in my library. And if I want to reposition it, first of all, it's facing in the proper direction because of what I did before. It kind of has a bit of a memory, but pan pattern down here creates this wonderful little icon. And when it turns to a cross, you can pan the pattern. Okay, so I could make this a beautiful booklet starting with this. I think I've done this before. And I could actually size it bigger or smaller, but it seems to be sized pretty good. And so that one's done. Now what I want, I could use the same thing as my back cover, because remember, I did not use the whole thing. I panned over it. Let's go back to that one and make it the same. Oh, and it looks the same, but if I hit pan pattern here, it puts that little doohickey there, and when you line it up with a similar doohickey, you can just move it so that the back of this is now the back page. I think I'll leave that. Okay, so now I'm going to do page 1 of the inside of the booklet, and in keeping with this theme of the bee and the background, I'll pan the pattern. You see I click it each time, and it, because I have the memory of each of these boxes, the way I have them is, oh shoot. Okay, my arm got tired holding the camera and ended up hitting the lid of my computer. You don't need to know this, and shut it off. So anyway, here I am again. So you see I've gotten this page, and it's lined right, because what I'm working with was the one I just did. And I have, it tells each box, it'll put it in the same way I had it before, which was correct. So now I go to this block, and let's see if I can find something, another paper here that is connected, yeah, with the bee thing, and it did. So that's it, but oh, it put it wrong. I don't know why, but I don't want, I need this bee skep down here. And I have to tell you, I have not figured out which one of these does it. One of these does it, and I wish I could commit that to memory, but I can just play with it. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to hit the first one, and that's the one. So usually if it's this way, I know 2 over, it should be correct, yes. So at least I've learned that much doing this now. Okay, when you click on it and it doesn't move like it did before, like if I clicked on this, I'd have it going the wrong way. So the opposite of this is going to be correct, and that's this one. All right, so that moved it so that it will read right. And I'm hoping this down here, let me just see how, this one doesn't seem, yeah, I think maybe the B needs to be on the top. So I'm going to move that one. No, it's correct. Oh, there it is. I don't know. You know, it really doesn't matter, but I think I like the B on the top. Let's just go with that. All right, now I go down to this page and I'll find something else in the same category of course. Now that's the same one I have down here, so I don't want that, do I? No. So I'm going to hit pan, and I know these are double pages in here. See? Oh, and that's the same one, so I'm not even going to use that one. So let me just find something else. And it doesn't even I could even actually put text. I could mix it up and make this anything I wanted, as long as I've got the patterns in my library. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, there's another bee thing, and that works very well. So let me see. I got to look over here carefully to see. And like I said, this is the biggest disadvantage. You've got to know your papers, because it's really hard to see these. But I know that they're similar, and I can just play with them and find them quickly. Let's see, which one was that? But let's pan pattern and see what it looks like if I move it over. Yeah, this is pretty. Let's just put that. Just line it up, and there it is. And it might be part of it, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, because see the B-shaped back, the, what do you call it? Honeycomb shaped. Okay, so now I'm, gonna do this one. And let's see if I can find another one that's bee related. But see, it's going the wrong way. So now I'll just go this way. and it will read that way. You know, it has to read upside down, and I believe it does. Of course, I could scale it larger if I wanted. So you can use one sheet, and by the way you scale them and do the, whoops, now see I moved it, I don't want to move it, Control Z. We'll place it right back where it was. So if I pan the pattern, I enlarged it so it looks like a whole totally different piece of paper. See, and it's beekeeping, right? So I could make that one just like that. And that would be fine because it's bee organ. Now I'm working on the other side, this one. And like I said, I could pick the same exact thing. Now these are, I'm not going to use these because this page happens to be elements that I purchased in this kit. However, you can play with it a little bit and make it large and then pan the pattern and bring the pattern up like that, and so it's a whole page. So you really can do almost anything, and it has the bee in there. So let me just keep that and Control Z so I can get it in the right spot. Now I'm down to the last page, and like I said, you can just keep on using the same thing and just find a new size with the scale, or a new, generally speaking, see how it repeats it and tiles it? So you obviously may not want to do that. So you can make it larger, but you can pan the pattern again and find that's the one I thought I had. Well, yeah, it is actually. But you'd never guess. Okay, so if I put that here, I believe this one was this one up here. But now that it's a smaller size, you don't even know. Okay, so bottom line is now I have all of my pages done. I have a background that will show that it'll be a nice cohesiveness. It'll give cohesiveness. Plus, it adds color to the paper. It wouldn't be white. So now let's go see about printing. And I go to print. I get a print preview. Remember the red lines that were there? They're no longer there. And this color in between is compatible. Pretty much, I think. It's like coffee. But I do see something happening down here. I'm going to cancel it. And now I'm going to select it in the middle. Now I've got the whole thing. I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. And then while I'm on the background, say I don't like it, I want it to be darker. Okay, so I go to this modify open image effects panel because it's a picture, it's a photo, and I can use this to change colors. Okay, if I use the palette up here and start moving the dial, see how it changed? I could make the background coffee stained but in a different color. And you go all the way at the end of this spectrum and it's the exact same thing. Only when you slide the bar do you get different colors. So I could make it green. I don't know where yellow or gold is. Let me see what that is. Just keep sliding it, go to the blue, through the purple. And the closer I get to the end, there it is, right there. I don't quite get a yellow. All right, I get a reddish color, which I really don't want. So down here, I should probably, toward the green spectrum here, if I move it just a little bit. So now I could make this background paper that you just see peeking around the edges green. Let's see what that looks like in the print preview. See if I like that. Not bad. I think I'll keep it. It's kind of interesting. But you see you have all kinds of choices. And going back, another thing you can do on the same, open the image effects panel. I've got it selected. Now I can go up to the FX, which is really make it darker. So the more I push it down to this size, see how dark I can get it. or medium. So it took the, you know why it took the green out, and you have to be careful about this. When you make a selection, if you don't hit apply, it doesn't stick. So I hit apply, now that turned it dark. If I go back here to the palette and move it, now I've made it darker, so that's a pretty, maybe a better color of green. Yeah, let me just hit it between the green and the tan, see what it looks like, and I'm going to hit apply. Just remember, if you want it, you have to apply it. Let's go back to print, and that's what it would look like. Now, you remember, you're going to be folding it in a booklet form, like this booklet. So all that's going to be is what you see perhaps around the edges. Okay, I don't want to lean on my laptop because I'll shut my computer off. Okay, I think for this video, I'm just going to hit print now. And I have an Epson 3760, which I absolutely love. And I don't have my lines, which I don't want. If I wanted, I could put lines around them, but I don't want in this case. So now it's going to go and print.